Welcome, everyone. We'll just wait for a few more minutes until everyone's here.
Which is an overview of 36 Multi Tenant. Judging from the number of registrations we've had, there's a massive interest in this product, and we're very pleased to be able to present it. Today, Manoj is going to be presenting. So he's our head of technical support at Breeze, which is a leader company. So Manoj, I'm just going to hand it over to you. If during the webinar, if folks have got questions, please put it into the chat. At the end of it, raise hands, then we can unmute you and ask questions. But through the webinar, please just use the chats. And And we've got people here, moderators, that will be able to answer those questions for you as we go along. So thank you. Handing over to Manoj now.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me clearly. My name is Manoj. I'll be taking you through the new 3CX product, which is the 3CX multi-tenancy. And feel free to post any questions on the chat during the webinar, and please keep the questions on topic. And we also have Adam Wells on the as a panelist here to assist you with the questions during the seminar. And also we have a Q&A session at the end. So if you want to wait and ask the question later, so that's yeah. And so in this webinar, we are going to see like what is basically a 3CX multi-tenant and who is it for, like who is the target customers or the customers that you can target with this product, and how to install. And we're also going to see a short demo at the end of the session. So what is 3CX multi-tenant? So this is basically an opportunity for all the 3CX partners and telcos to host their smaller clients. Let's say you have like six 4SC licenses. You can rather than maintaining them as separate. So if the customers doesn't want like or want any complex features, so you can have them under one single subscription, like a big subscription. Let's say a 16SC license, and you can manage them all under one solution. And there is no need for separate licenses for each customer, so you can manage them under one subscription. And so that's a shared instance, and simultaneous calls are shared across all the tenants. And you need to use their own infrastructure, and it's pretty easy to manage because everything is under one roof, and you can have multiple customers under one subscription. That also makes managing easy and also updating easy. So for example, if you want to update 3.6 to the next version, you don't need to like log into each and every instance and then update them manually. So rather than go into one instance, and you can manage it or update it. So essentially the 3.6 multi-tenant capability allows for separation of companies using 3.6 departments, and each department is dedicated to single company. The multi-tenant switch makes the departments invisible from each other so that each customer doesn't know there is another customer sitting behind it. And the 3.6 SMB offer uses the similar methodology. In the same way, the 3.6 multi-tenant capability gives partners the ability to offer 3.6 SMB to their customers. So who's the multi-tenancy is for? So the target customers. So that's basically smaller customers who don't need advanced functionality like any CRM integrations or Teams integrations or any other complex features. And also if they are budget conscious, or let's say they are only like three users or four users, and putting them on a 4SC license or 8SC license, which would be overkill for them. So these are the customers you can put them under the multi-tenant. And so there are some prerequisites that you need to match. So 3.6 multi-tenant is licensed in exactly the same way as a normal 3.6 license, except that there are certain minimum requirements that apply, and you cannot use your NFR license for multi-tenant versions. And the simultaneous calls are spread across over to all the customers. So let's say you have like 5 customers on a 6SC license, or 5 departments on a 16SC license. So basically the 16SC will be shared across all the 5 customers. And the simultaneous calls license, so you can configure as you grow for a multi-tenant system. So let's say you start with the 16SC, which is the minimum um, license requirement for a multi-tenancy. And as you grow, you can upgrade your license to a 32SC, 64 or 96 as you go. So, sir, and also you cannot host it with 3.6 directly for a multi-tenancy. You need to self-host it. You can either host it on server on-premise, or you can host it on your private cloud like Google, AWS, or Lightsail. And the 16SC license or any other above license that you're going to use it for MCM, that needs to be unactivated so that you can use it for MCM or multi-tenancy. And installing. So installing is pretty much going to be, if you've already installed 3.6 instances before, it's going to be pretty much the same with one additional or a few steps that you need to make or need to do it before going through the process. So generate the 3.6, and you need to do those steps, which I'll be showing you during the demo. And every other step is pretty much the same. You generate the 3.6 setup configuration file, and you set up identical to us like a dedicated instance, and multi-tenant parameters are automatically activated. And so with the initial steps which I mentioned, which I'll be showing you during the demo, that magically activates all the multi-tenancy parameters and making that system as a multi-tenancy. And assigning a system extension to the default department, which is going to be the same as the dedicated instance, parking, echo test, everything. And assigning system owners. So yes, you can have multiple system owners per multi-tenant, like the host system, where like multiple people can have access, or you can restrict to one user who have access to all the entire system. And creating the companies or departments. So if you've already familiar with the version 20 and creating departments, it's pretty much going to be the same, but you will see additional features on the multi-tenancy, like you can restrict the users and stuff, or restrict system access, or restrict trunks, which can also be done manually, or you can also use the 3CX configuration API. And make the system work automatically. For example, you can integrate the 3CX multi-tenancy with the configuration API, and you can add a link or a form on your website. Let's say the users, number of users they need, the number of trunks they need, the channels they need, and all those information. And the API will get all those information and put it onto the system, and it will create the customer automatically. And each company is isolated from others on the system, and assigning parking slots to the tenants, it's also pretty much going to be the same as a dedicated instance. The only main difference between the normal departments and the multi-tenant departments is, so each departments will not be able to see each other, or they can, even if they randomly try to dial an extension, they will not be able to connect to a different department. And extension numbering. So 3.6, the free version of the SMB platform use the 5 digits, and you don't have to use the 5 digit. That's totally up to you. You can use 3, 4, or 5. You can use 2 if you want, but all that also restrict the number of users that you can have. So if you use 2, the number of users that you can have is basically from 0, 1 to 99. But if you use 3, that's basically 999 users, and 4 is 9999 users, and so on. And also like plan your numbering accordingly and keep them organized so that it will make things easy for you. For example, let's say you have a 3-digit numbering plan. So you can plan something like, you can for a 5 user, you can add the extension range from 210 to 219, which basically from 210 to 215 you can give it for users, and from 216 to 219 you can put it for system extension, which are basically ring groups, auto attender, call queues. And you can also assign parks per department, so that you can, let's say you can only, so shared parking 1 and shared parking 2 on department 1 or company 1, shared parking 3 and 4 for company 2, so that the other pair, like let's say department 2 trying to access a different park, it won't give them access to, or pick them a call or things like that. And extension numbers are, yes, are shared between all tenants. So you cannot use the same extension. Let's say a customer wants 1000 or 101 and another customer 101. That's not possible. So it's, since the extension numbers are shared, it needs to be unique. And assign user extension and system extension ranges. So that's what I mentioned previously. And SIP trunks, yes, you can restrict. It's totally up to you. Either you want to have one SIP trunk per the host, and all the customers' calls goes through that one SIP trunk, and you have as many channels on that one SIP trunk, or you can have separate SIP trunk per department or per customer. So that's also totally up to you. And also, if you are planning to use one SIP trunk with, like, let's say 100 channels on the host system, and all the customers share the channels on the SIP trunk, make sure your voice provider support our instance parameter, so that it can take a simple subtrunk and assign the IDs to various extension and queues and things like that. Because you will have like there are not all providers provide R instance, which basically accepts multiple registrations or calls from single point of like the instance. And yep, so you can assign DIDs per tenant. So even if you're using one single trunk, or and it's better to have like one zip trunk per customer so that they can have their own channels or dedicated channels, and it also makes things simplified on the customer side as well as the managing part of your side. And so there are some differences between the multi-tenant environment and the dedicated environment. So dedicated is basically you can like pretty much do everything, but with the multi-tenant there is no CRM integration, and there is no hotel features like the PMS integration and stuff. There is no additional department within a tenant. So a customer or department that you create, that's going to be one department or one customer. They cannot have a sub department inside a department. And the music on hold is going to be global for all the customers. So customers cannot change it, but they can have different queue music on holds. But if they're normal music on hold, it's going to be global for all the customers that's on the same tenant. And no call scripts per tenant. And if that also raises a question like, so how the holiday script works. So the system owner have access to add the call script. So the system owner needs to, or whoever the managing the host system or the main tenant, so they need to upload the holiday prompt or holiday script on the main login or the system owner level. And there is no Microsoft 365 sync or Teams integration on the multi-tenancy. So this is basically like if a customer wants either one of that or more than one of these, it's better to put them on a dedicated instance rather than the multi-tenancy. Let's go to a short demo. Let me share my screen. Cool. So this is basically our test partner account. I hope everyone can see my screen, but just a second. Cool. So hope everyone can see my screen. And yep, so this is our test partner account. And from the partner account, so if you go to the three dots and if you go to downloads, and there you can see the multi-tenant option. So this is the one additional step or the first step that you need to do when you are going to use the tenancy or the license for a multi-tenant system. Because you can also like go to systems, click install on the license directly, and that's going to take you to the normal dedicated instance installation, and that will all have all the multi-tenancy parameters not included on the configuration file. So the first step and the most important step is you need to go to downloads and click the install button from here. Let's say you're hosting it on a Linux system, so you click on install on the multi-tenant, and that's going to take you to the next menu, which shows all the 16SC and above licenses, unactivated licenses in here, which you need to click on install on the license directly from here. And then it's going to be the same usual step that you do on a normal license. So it's going to take you to where do you host it. And these two options will not be visible when you click on install from the multi-tenancy. Since I don't have any free unactivated license or unactivated license, I'm not able to like click on. It doesn't show up in here, and I'm not able to click on. But as soon as you click on install from this menu, like install multi-tenant, that will automatically activate all the multi-tenancy parameters and make that as a multi-tenant system, and it will take you to there. And it doesn't show these options. Either you can choose it on-premise or self-hosted, and you click next. You choose your own FQDN, for example, Breeze 3CX test MCM. Hope it's not taken. Yep. Next. So this is something you need to be very careful choosing because you might be already aware once you select the number of digits, there is no going back. You cannot change it like after it's installed. So you need to make sure you pick the right number. So you can either go with, to be on the safer side, go with 5 digits or 4 digits. So depending on your usage and the number of customers that you're going to add. If you're planning to have like one license and you're going to keep on upgrading like 16, 30 to 96, 128, and you keep on going, it's better to have a 5 digit. Or if you're in the idea, like let's say you hit 1,000 user mark and then you're going to do a separate instance and you're keeping on you're going to like add multiple instances, multiple multi-tenancy. If that's the way, you can either go with 5 if you want to go to, or you can go with 4 depending on the number of customers that you want to onboard. And next, that's pretty much the same. So you select the time zone and everything. And next, it's pretty much everything is going to be the same as the dedicated instance installation. The only difference is you pick the multi-tenant, click on the install on the multi-tenant under the downloads, and you pick wherever you want to host it, Google Cloud or Amazon Lightsail or AWS, totally depending on you, your preference, and you just install it normally. And yep, so I have an installed instance which I can show you directly. And once it's installed, it's going to pretty much look like a normal 3.6 instance. But if you go to settings, there will be an additional option where you can see, by that way you can confirm that's a multi-tenant, multi-company. And you can see multi-company mode is enabled. So the dashboard looks exactly similar to a normal dedicated instance, users, voice chat, and everything. And to create a new company or a customer, so you just need to go to departments. And if you click on add, you can see all the additional options that you can see. So user restrictions and the system extension range restrictions and the trunk limit. So let's create a customer. So let's name them as customer 2. And you can set the prompts accordingly. And let's say I'm going to enter them as a, let's say 300 from 10 to 300 to 19. So basically I'm giving them 10 extension ranges, and I'm giving them few system extension, which is basically call queues, auto attendance, or ring groups. I'll name it from 11 to 30015, or no, sorry. So from 20 to 25 or maybe 29 to be on the safer side. And you can also restrict the number of trunks they can use. So if you click on 2, because that's the maximum number of trunk they can have, and that doesn't so you don't need to be like strict on this, because let's say you given only 10 users but the customer wants to add another user, like 11th user, you can still go to the um, customer to edit department and options, and you can give them an additional user, or you can increase the range. That's totally up to you. So now the customer is created. Now you need to add users, like which are the users that you need to add. So let's say I'm adding these 2 users onto them, or let's create a user. So let's create a user for the system. So 30010, which is the extension number, and let's give them a email ID. Oh, and first name user 1. And while creating the user, so you will have assigned them a role. So if so, first thing I would recommend putting them onto the correct department, so which is the customer to which we created now, and the user role. So either you can say them as a user receptionist, or if you click on owner, so that's basically let's say you're a partner and you're creating it for a customer, and the customer has a system admin or someone, or a manager, that they want to add users, delete users, or things like that, you can put them as a owner, and the owner have access to manage just the particular department. And if you create them as a receptionist or a user, so they're just going to have the web client access where they can make and receive calls and just the normal stuff. But if you assign them as a owner, they have like access to make changes on the department and only the department. And click save, and that will automatically add the user to the department. So you can see user one is added and they have all these rights. And I'll also show you how it looks from the department owner's view. Let me open the other one. Cool. So this is my so let me show from here. So I already have a customer one test instance, which I have the user owner, which is the owner account, and two user account. And also I've added a few parks for them. So chat park 3 and chat park 4. Sorry, chat park 2 and chat park 3. And if customer wants to use, you can add chat parking 4 and 5, and if they want an additional one, 6, and the third customer you can add 7, 8, 9, and yep, and so on. And shared parking limits, so if you go to system call parking, you can increase the shared parking limits from here. And now let's go to the department view. So this is a department owner, so basically, and from the dashboard you can see they have only limited access, but they have access over the department. So as a department owner, I'm able to like add a user or delete a user or create new users. But so I can assign them owner of that same department or receptionist. So let's say owner two, and I'm going to give them normal receptionist access to. So from the department view, they can only see them as a department. They cannot see other departments or other customers. So that's so if you give access to a customer, so they don't see that there are also other customers and things like that. And let's say you try to add a extension above the limit. So let's say I want to add a 40, and if I try to click, it's going to say invalid value because that's not the range I've set for this department. And also, so let's do 4. And if I select them as a owner and click save, so that added a owner too. And also you can see from here, so the owner too will also be added. So you can see whatever the users or the trunks or the call flow that the department owners create, you can from the system owner view, you can view everything. So you can see owner two is from customer one and the user owner customer one, and from user one is on customer two account and so on. And as a department owner, I can also add trunk. So I can add a trunk, so Breeze and okay, and then you can add your trunk. And for this, I haven't set up any trunk restriction. I think that by default it's 6. So I can add up to 6 trunks. And that doesn't mean only the department owner can add a trunk. So you can also add a trunk from here. So you can add a trunk, Breeze, okay, and you can set the so give it a name and options. You can either set it to system wide or you can set it to particular department. So let's say customer two and then save. And that's going to say use that trunk just for that one department. And if I create a department or a trunk from the department owner view, you can see I only have option to select the only one department, which is I'm the department owner of. So you can add a trunk, you can add outbound routes and office hours per department. So everything you can do pretty much the same. And reports, you can the same standard reports and event logs you have access. So yep, pretty much from the each customer will have access to a department owner if you want to give them access, or if you want to manage this customer, you doesn't need to give it's not mandatory to give a department owner. So each user have just access to their own system. And so each user have just access to their own system, and you can manage them globally from your system owner point of view. And you can create trunks for them and outbound rules and departments and call handling. So even when you're adding a ring group or so it gives you an option to choose which department you want to assign this ring group to. So if I say customer one and then test and then save, it's going to show up on the other one. So if I go to call handling and I can see the test ring group which I just created now, and I cannot change the extension number or so because it's like predefined. And yep, so you can also add ring group, and you can give virtual extension number, and you can only set, for example, this one is set from 21 to 29. I cannot use a different range for the system extension. And yep, so reports view, event log view, call recording, everything is pretty much the same as your normal dedicated instance. The main difference between from the management console view, the main difference between the dedicated and the multi-company mode is each department cannot see each other. And also, let's say if someone tries, user tries to make a type random numbers to try to contact or get in touch with a different customer on the same tenancy, that's not possible. So if they, let's say customer A and B, customer A wants to call customer B, they need to dial their normal local number or their dedicated number that needs to go through the trunk to the outside world and to the, they cannot make internal calls between departments. So that's something you cannot do on the multi-tenancy. But other than that, it's if you're already familiar with 3.6, it's the functioning wise, it's pretty much going to be the same. Cool. So that is pretty much everything on the 3.6 multi-tenancy. And before jumping into Q&A sessions, just one second. Yeah. So before jumping into the Q&A sessions, um, I would also like to let you guys know, like we also have resources if you need assistance transitioning from 3.6 self-hosted or 3.6 cloud-hosted or 3.6 hosted to a multi-tenant system. This could include setting up a new multi-tenant solution for resellers, or if you're not familiar with the multi-tenancy and you want need assistance like migrating customers from 3.6 hosted or 3.6 self-hosted instance or multi-tenancy system. So we can provide resources for that. So if you want more information on it, get in touch with Breeze or Leader. And also, Breeze is going to launch Breeze multi-tenancy soon. So you're not restricted. You can have your own MCM. But if you, this is mostly for partners who have more SMB clients and doesn't want to have their own MCM, and they want to have the customers to be put under, they want to use 3.6, but they want to put under MCM, you can put them on the Breeze MCM. And also, it's going to be a user-based model with all everything included, like license, hosting, um, the SIP channels, everything included, all under one bill, no separate charges. So you don't have to pay 3.6 license fee, you don't have to pay a hosting fee. The customer doesn't need to have pay SIP channels or SIP trunking fee separate. And yeah, so everything can be under one bill. The customer can pay the bill directly and you get the commissions. And we will soon send out official EDMs regarding the Breeze MCM with the pricing and stuff. So stay tuned. And cool. So, yep, let's jump in. And if to questions, and if you have any questions, just feel free to post it on the chat. Okay. So can you control how many? Sorry. Can you control how many simultaneous calls each department can use? Unfortunately not. You can control on the trunk level. Let's say a trunk can only make these, can have only these many channels, but the licenses simultaneous calls that's shared between all users. Any link to check for the API details? Yes, I can post it on the chat maybe. Just a second. Or, yep, just a second. Yep, I've posted the 3.6 configuration API, and yep, or you can just do the 3.6 multi-company setup guide from 3.6 site, and at the bottom you can find the link for the 3.6 API. Okay, that's a lots of questions. Does Breeze Connect support our instance? Yes, we do. And how do you migrate customers with IP phones from existing? So technically, you cannot take a backup and restore a backup onto a multi-company mode. Unfortunately, you need to take the hardware, so you need to build everything from scratch. Will Breeze be offering hosting? Can I buy my 3.6 license and have Breeze hosting? No, we do not offer hosting, but with but with the Breeze MCM, which I or multi-tenancy, which I mentioned earlier, so you can put customers under our tenancy. But if you're planning to get your own license, you might need to host it. Would all customers have same FQDN? Yes. So you need to, that's something I forgot to mention. So all customers, yes, will have the same FQDN. So when you're creating the instance, you can put something like your company name .36, or you can have a custom FQDN, for example, Leader Computers hosted system or Breeze hosted system.com.au, which takes you to the hosted system. So yep, so you cannot have multiple FQDNs. We set up a multi-tenant system in a few months ago using instructions available at the time. Do we need to follow these instructions now to rebuild a new instance? If you, I'm not sure what the old method was, but with the current method, so if you go through the downloads and install it, it will automatically add all the parameters required for MCM. But I'm guessing when you did the installation initially, you might have did some manual changes onto the 3.6 instance. Do we have the options to prorate upgrade the license from 16SC to 32SC? I guess you can. That's more of a sales question. So, but yes, you can. But I would recommend confirming with the 3.6 sales team at Leader. Can the number of range be split or must be sequential? No, you can name them randomly, but to keep it organized, you can range it in sequence. But you can split totally like how much ever you like you want. Would the customer have the option to have company context? So that's something I'm guessing a work in progress on 3.6 side. So currently you can have only user level normal contact list. You cannot do a phone book or upload phone book per department level. Can you configure trunks to be used across multiple departments? Unfortunately not. I think you can only do either globally or you need to set a trunk per department. Or from the outbound rules perspective, you can restrict extension, like let's say specific extension range needs to go to a particular outbound trunk. So by that way, you can use the use one trunk to multiple departments. How do you create a owner to manage all departments? So to manage all departments, it needs to be system owner. But if you're creating an owner, so you can add that per department level. So they will have access only to that particular department. Yes, the recording of the webinar will be available soon on our Leader Academy and also our YouTube page. Is there plans to have a report that shows number of simultaneous calls? Gauge on the SIP trunk or 3CX? I don't think you can check that on the 3CX side directly, but if you're using Breeze Connect as the provider, so we have a special formula that you could use on the CSV that you download from the Breeze Connect portal, which we can give it to you. So get in touch with, send an email to help@breezeconnect.com.au and we can provide you like or how to do it. Sorry, there are lots of questions. I'm just going finding where I left off. Is it possible to get a 60-day trial license to test since our NFR does not work? I am not sure, but if you email 36 directly or the 36 LCMet later, they might be able to answer that. But I don't think because the multi-company doesn't work on NFR or free licenses. It needs to be a dedicated and paid version. But might be wrong. They might be able to like activate or give a trial period. But yeah, I would recommend checking with 36 or the 36 LCMet leader directly. How much per user for MC Breeze? We are working on the pricing, so we should be sending out official ADM soon. So yep, it should be I cannot give an exact date here, but it should be pretty soon. So we are almost there. We have already set up our system and stuff. Can you back up current Forex? Actually, for the Breeze MCM, so send an email to sales@breezeconnect.com.au or give a call to sales, and anyone, me or Diago, will be able to answer your questions or give you the pricing. Can you back up current 364SC and restore customers into multi-tenant? Unfortunately not. So yeah, you need to take the hard way. So you need to build things from the scratch. Three six multi-tenant, is it possible to have specific digital receptionists like music on hold, after hours, phone message per department? Yes, you can. You can have as many digital receptionists or as many ring groups and as many call queues. So you just need to specify the range. For example, you have five multi-level IVRs and three call queues and three ring groups. You just need to set the range as 11 or more when you're creating the department, or you can update the range after creating the department. What are the hardware spec requirements? So it's pretty much going to be the same as the normal hardware spec requirement. Let's say you're planning to put let's say a 96 SC license and your maximum users will be 250 plus. It's going to be the same hardware requirement as you see for a dedicated instance. And you might need to add more storage depending on the use cases. So let's say all the users will be having their call recording stored. So you might need to increase the storage and stuff. But yeah, but the CPU and the RAM and stuff. So it's pretty much going to be similar or identical for dedicated instance and multi company mode. Would you say the best way to bill for the setup is per user, not per SC, as we have done it in the past with dedicated instances? That is totally up to you. So you have full freedom. So you can create your own packages. Let's say if you want to do it user based, that's totally up to you. You can set pricing according to that, or you can set up to like um, a channel based and then you charge them for the instance and hosting. So that's also up to you. Or you can create like packages or packs like a 5 user pack, 10 user pack, 15 user pack. That's also up to you. So you have full freedom. So it's your own MCM and your own packages. Phone book per company. Unfortunately, yep, so it's not available at the moment. So only the users can have their own contacts. But the phone book per department is not available at the moment. But it might be available in the future, but I cannot confirm that question. Can an existing Pro or Enterprise 32 simultaneous calls 250 extension migrated to? It's going to be pretty much the same. So you might need to build every things from scratch because if you create a like let's say you wipe off the instant or get a new 32 SE and you're uploading a backup, it's the multi-company mode will not accept the backup. It might pick up the users and stuff, but I don't think it picks up the other. So you might need to build things from scratch. Or as I mentioned previously, if you have trouble or need assistance regarding the migration, so get in touch with us. We have resources that we can provide, so they might be able to help you out in that case. Do we need any special configuration in AWS or Azure in order to? No. So the VM wise, it's going to be the same. And from the VM's perspective, the 3.6 is going to be the same. Only on the 3CX, the multi-company mode and all the additional features are there. Transferring a current 3CX Pro 4SC to a multi-tenant setup, export or import works. So with the users, yes, you can do an export or import. That works, but it's just the entire system backup you cannot upload. Will we be able to rename shared parking extensions? don't think so, but it's going to show as SP1 or SP2 if you're using the 3CX apps. But if you are using a physical handset, so once the provisioning is pushed on the handset, you can log into the web UI and you might be able to update the label, but it just points to the same tile code, which points to the shared parking. For pricing, this would just cost 16 SC plus hosting plus SIP cost. Yes, you're correct. So it's just the license and your hosting fee and your SIP trunk pricing. Would the customer have option to have company contacts? SMB free doesn't allow. Yep. So the yep, same. So you cannot have department level or customer level contacts at the moment. Is there a limitation adding number of customers? No. So your department is on your own. Let's say you have 1,000 for a three digit for example, let's say take a 3-digit 3.6 extension group, and you have like 100 users on one company. So while you're entering the extension range, you just edit it to accommodate 100 users. That's it. There is no actual limit on each customer or department level for the number of customers or system extension you can enter. Is there a path to move a current customer install to multi-tenant, backup and restore? Yep, unfortunately not. You might need to build it from scratch. Can you please clarify how multi-tenant will affect the current system? For example, if we have like 5 instances on 8SC and 5 instances that are on 4SC, do we have to make them join in a multi-tenant? That's totally up to you. For example, if you want to have one single instance and want everything under, you can get like a big license. Um, Depending on the simultaneous calls you need, and you can move everyone under, or you can leave the 8SCs as it is because 8SCs still are dedicated ones, and just the 4SCs, they are not doing much, like not using the resources, or um, they're not having any complex settings or any integrations. So just the 4SC licenses you can move under the multi-company mode, or either you can move everyone under or just the 4SCs under, or whoever want to use the 8SC dedicated, they can stay. Let's say 3 want to use the 8SCs and 2, they're just okay with the cheaper option. You can put the 2 and the rest of the 4SCs under the multi-company. That's totally up to you. Um, can a current hosted 3CX can be changed to a multi-tenant? So it's going to be a no, because it needs to be a paid unactivated license for it to run on multi-company mode. Also, system hosted with 3.6 directly doesn't support multi-company mode, so it needs to be a dedicated instance. Can each department see reports? Yes, so they can only see the call logs or the reports just for that particular departments. SBCs, how will they function in multi-tenant? If you're using physical handsets, you can have a either as a system owner, you can deploy an SBC or a router phone for them, or as a department owner, sorry, as a system owner, you can do that for them, or as a department owner, they or that user also has access to add a handset or add a SBC to that. So it's going to be pretty much works as the normal dedicated instance. By sequential, I mean 100 to 110, and then add 150 to 160 later, and later if you want 112 to 122, 120. Yes, you're correct. You can add it in any order. So you can use the hundreds and then go to 500s or 520s, and then you come back to 200. So yeah. So unless the extension range is not taken by another department, you can still use it in any order. So one global SIP trunk with 100 channels, each department having, let's say, 5 channels in use. How would one manage outgoing caller ID? You cannot set the caller ID on the trunk level because everyone's going to be shared. And also, I'm guessing the outbound rules will also be shared. So you should not enter the outbound caller IDs over there. But on the user level, each user level, you can enter outbound caller IDs. That's where you can control that. If you are going to do a big one big SIP trunk with a number of channels and you going to manage every customer under that. Outbound rules for all customers in one place. Yep. So if you're using one big trunk, you can have one set of outbound rules. But if you have multiple trunks, you need to set outbound rules for each and every department. Earlier, you mentioned the whole music for calls will be set globally. Does that mean clients cannot choose their own whole music? Yes. So that's a limitation. So the entire system will have one. If there's even though the entire system have like 10 users or 100 users, they're going to have one single global music on hold. But if they're using call queues, they can have different queue music on hold. But the global music on hold, it's going to be the same. With Breeze multi-tenancy, what are the support option scopes? For example, if want to change a client's call routing or setting significantly. So with Breeze multi-tenancy, so with each partner or each customer, we'll be setting a department owner. So where they can have full access over the particular department or the customer. So they can manage call flows, users, SIP trunks, outbound rules, and everything from there. Default voicemail prompt still mentioned about pressing start to contact the operator. Yep, that's going to be pretty much for a dedicated instance or the normal instance. What about the IP&D data that seems only be per SIP trunk and not DID? So from the 3CX reports, you can see the per department and stuff. But if you're using multiple SIP trunks, you can see the call logs for that trunk from your voice provider side. But if you're using one big trunk, and that's totally um, you can on that's totally on the voice provider side if they support that. How does billing work on pay-as-you-go calls for our clients if on the same trunk? So if you're putting them on the same trunks, and it's going to be like how you design your packages, because you cannot see or you can get like one big report with like let's say 1,000 or 10,000 lines of a CSV file for a day, and you need to like manually work out or like what each number is dialing, or if you're planning to do the usage. And if you're doing one big trunk, I would recommend putting them as a packages like all included package that makes it easier for you or to manage the customer or put up a pricing onto it. Cool. I think I caught up with all the questions, and any other questions? And also, if since it's a whole big list, if I've missed any of the questions, so feel free to post it again now because I'm at the top, so I should be able to see it immediately. Can you please show the API info again? Yep, sure. Actually, I can show you where you can find it. So basically, if you just do a normal Google regarding like 3CX multi-company setup guide, so you can see the step-by-step instruction from 3CX, like how to add or click on it, where do you need to click on install, and adding companies and users. And at the bottom, you can see the configuration API and how to configure it. And you can, if you click on read here more on how to do this, you can see further more information, like a detailed explanation of how it works. I hope that answers your question. Yes, the recording will be available soon on Leader Academy as well as our YouTube site. What are the options to migrate existing dedicated customers to multi-tenant if they have, for example, 3 or more months of existing subscription? So you can either wait for it. You can create the multi-tenancy mode and then wait for the current subscription to end. And before it's ending, you can configure everything on the multi-tenancy. And as soon as it's expired or before it's expired, you can just move the trunk across so will have new access and stuff. But yeah, but you need to configure it manually. Either you can wait till the subscription is ending or you can move it up to it. But if you move it to the multi-tenancy, they're going to lose the 3 month subscription. Is there a limit on how many trunks you can add in a tenant? No, but you can restrict the number of trunks you can add in a department. But you can add as many trunks you want onto a 3CX. Just confirming, Breeze has their own multi-tenant setup and can accommodate our clients with per user billing. Yes, you are correct. So we already built the system. So we're just waiting for the marketing materials. Once that is done, we'll be sending out official pricing. So yes, it's a per user based model, and if you want to get more information regarding that, just send an email to sales@breezeconnect.com.au or contact us, contact the Breeze Connect number and ask for me or Diego. I missed your answer on backups. Am I correct in thinking you cannot backup department separately, but it is an all-nothing backup of the entire multi-tenant? Yes, you're correct. So it's going to be either all the departments, like the entire system. That's the only backup that you can take. You cannot take backups per department. Cool. I hope I've answered all your questions. So, yep. So thanks everyone for attending the today's webinar. And if you have any more questions or if you have any doubts or if you want to know more about the MCM or our Breeze offering, so feel free to get in touch with us. You can contact us at help@breezeconnect.com.au or you can contact your leader account manager. They can transfer you to me or Diego or anyone from the Breeze team. And yeah. So thanks everyone for attending today's session and see you everyone.